this is our point of difference. So we have had these 5 sort of almost like key values that again have been there since day one. So fun, approachable, innovative, fits seamlessly into your life. So again, a really key thing for us is about making sure that people can come and they can get their frame fix and then they can go and get back on with the rest of their life. Whether that's going and smashing a meeting, maybe that's going back and sort of, you know, being a mum, maybe it's making sure you don't, you know, want to punch your partner. Whatever it is, that moment in your sort of day when you come to frame should hopefully mean that the rest of your day is in a better place than when you walked in. And I think the key thing with these is, again, we go back to it with all of our decisions. So whenever we kind of start, whether it's MPD, whether it's, you know, do we change the interiors, whatever that decision is, we go back to these key core values and we think, are we answering them? Are we true to our values? Does that actually, you know, make sense for our brand? Because sometimes it's very easy to look at what all of your competitors are doing and think, oh, you know, this is a trend, we're all going to do that. But actually, is that right for your brand? Stay true to what you believe in and to what makes you different, because actually otherwise we all end up being exactly the same. We had a point sort of back in about 2015 when suddenly our industry, so a lot of people would call it like the boutique fitness industry, really just started to fly, and we had a lot of incumbents coming in, and there was a lot of sort of copying, a lot of businesses doing very, very similar things, and at that point I sort of, you know, you start to get a little bit worried and seeing all the competition, and I sort of had this mentor at the time who was an amazing sort of old Irish guy who'd been sort of in sort of brand marketing for years, and he just sat me down and I was trying to do all sorts of things, like with our logo that's a diagonal and impossible to put on anything, and trying to make it flat, and, you know, trying to change the brand and make everything clean, which you can see we're very colourful, and he was like, look Pip, go back to what you believed in, what worked at the beginning. Like, he'd sort of done a sort of collage mood board of everything that we'd done since day one. He was like, this is frame, you are disruptive, you aren't perfect, like, but stay true to that. Don't want to be exactly the same as all the others. And actually since that moment it's made sort of more those branding sort of decisions much easier, because I can sort of do it being like, no, it's okay, because that's what we are and we are different. So be true to your values. I think this was also really important in lockdown for us, because it meant that when we were pivoting in those sort of initial kind of quite terrifying moments, we were able to create a really differentiated product. There was sort of, it was able to cut through the noise at the time, where actually like everybody from our industry just went online and started doing exactly the same thing and offering a very similar sort of, you know, do your half-hour workout with so-and-so on Instagram. They were all doing very similar exercises. We were able to really break through by offering something really different. So our dance strand, so we offer yoga, Pilates, dance, fitness, can't think, everything basically. But our dance strand, which is what we actually launched with back in 2009, and that was always our biggest thing. At the beginning of lockdown, well actually all through lockdown, suddenly that became huge again. And we sort of, you know, through a lot of customer research found out that a lot of that was because people wanted joy in their lives. A lot of people who'd be too scared to go into a class and maybe dance in front of other people actually found that doing that at home was something that was less terrifying, and that became bigger and bigger, and we had sort of over 300 people like on Zooms, like on a Thursday night, doing musical video to Chicago, which I didn't think would happen, but like obviously people needed to sort of escape, and those are kind of areas where they were able to do that. So we were able to get our sort of online product to sort of turning over, and, you know, comparatively to businesses like Hilton, this is tiny, but for us, we were able to sort of take over 100k revenue a month during those sort of lockdown months from an online product, which we literally launched in 8 days. So we were super proud of that, but I think, again, our technology wasn't, you know, up there, was never going to be able to compete with a Peloton, for example, but the values came through so strongly in the product, and our instructors stood out because they had such amazing personalities that actually people were really, really happy to pay that sort of $10.99 a month to get that experience.